Let me ask you a question that may feel a little strange. If your house were listed for sale today, at today's value, with today's financing options, with every repair it needs, and with only your post-divorce income, would you buy it? Not would you fight to keep it. Not can you somehow make the monthly mortgage payments. Not even do your children want to stay. I am asking whether you would voluntarily choose this exact house again, knowing everything you know now. Because one of the biggest mistakes a divorcing homeowner can make is treating the house like something they already own instead of something they may be choosing to purchase all over again. The house may represent stability, family, holidays, birthday parties, and the life that you thought you were going to have. But once one income becomes responsible for what two incomes may have supported, the house becomes a completely different financial decision. Today, I am going to walk you through what I call the divorce home rebuy test. This test will help you separate what the house means emotionally from what it requires financially. By the end, you will have 6 questions to answer before you agree to keep the house or negotiate a buyout. Why does this matter now? Because property decisions made during divorce can be difficult and expensive to unwind later. If you agree to a buyout using an incomplete equity number, you may pay your spouse for a value that is not truly available. If you commit to keeping the house without understanding the complete monthly payment, you may become house poor or fall behind. And if both names remain connected to the joint debt without a workable plan, one person's missed payment can affect both people. A divorce agreement may assign responsibility for a debt between spouses, but creditors generally still look at the original loan agreement until a borrower is formally released or the debt is refinanced or paid off. That is why we'll figure it out later is not a complete mortgage plan. I'm not saying this to scare you out of keeping the house. Keeping the house can be the right decision, but it should be a decision supported by documentation, lender information, property condition information, and a realistic post-divorce budget, not only by your ability to survive the next few payments. The goal is to determine whether keeping it supports the life that you are building next. If we have not met, my name is Latasha Laster-Mullins. I spent more than 9 years working as a family law paralegal, and I have been a California realtor since 2016, and I am a real estate collaboration specialist divorce, or RCSD, project manager serving California's Central Valley and Northern California. Earlier in my career, I also worked in the title industry, researching ownership, liens, judgments, and recorded property documents. I help divorcing homeowners gather their real estate information and professional resources that they need to make an informed decision about the marital home. I do not replace your attorney, tax professional, financial advisor, appraiser, home inspector, or mortgage professional. My role is to help make sure that the house is not treated like an afterthought while everyone is focusing on the rest of the divorce. If you are trying to work through this decision right now, you can scan the QR code on the screen or use the link in the description to download the first 10 pages of my ebook, The Emotional Mortgage, for free. It includes my story of the first divorcing homeowners I helped years ago before I learned what I'm sharing with you right now. An overview of the complete housing decision process, and information about the resources available to help you move forward. The first divorce-related sale I handled involved my 2 friends I call Matthew and Jessica. They had an appraisal valued for their house at $685,000 and a mortgage balance of approximately $368,000. So on paper, that looked like $317,000 in equity, or $158,500 each if they divided it equally. But once the house went through the scrutiny of an actual sale, we discovered an insurance claim that had not been disclosed, an unpermitted roof replacement, and a square footage discrepancy of about 500 square feet. There were repairs, concessions, and transaction expenses that the simple appraisal minus mortgage calculation did not show. They ultimately walked away with approximately $138,440 each. Not the $158,500 each that they originally expected. But that experience changed the way I looked at houses in divorce. I had treated the transaction like a regular housing sale, and it wasn't. I learned that an appraisal is just one piece of the information, but it is not the same as a home inspection, a title review, an insurance history review, or a complete analysis of what it will cost to own or sell the property. If you would not buy a stranger's house without doing your due diligence, why would you buy out your spouse's interest in your current house without it? Test number 1, would I buy it at today's real value? Would you buy this house at today's realistic value? Not what you paid years ago, not what your neighbor listed for, and not simply whatever an online estimate says. You need credible information about the current market, the mortgage, and any home equity lines, liens, or judgments tied to the property, and the home's actual condition. For decision planning purposes, your rough equity conversation may need to consider more than market value minus the first mortgage. Depending on the facts of the situation and how your legal and financial professionals advise you, the conversation may also need to include other debts secured by the property, documented liens, deferred maintenance, repairs, and possible transaction expenses. This is not a do-it-yourself legal equity calculation. California Property Division can involve separate property claims, reimbursements, credits, and other issues that only your attorney can evaluate. The point is that you should not lock yourself into a buyout number before the relevant information has been gathered. Test number 2. Would you buy this house in its current condition? Think back to the first time you purchased it. You may have ordered a general home inspection, a termite inspection, a roof inspection, a sewer or septic inspection, a well inspection if it's applicable, reviewed a preliminary title report, and studied a stack of disclosures. Now ask yourself what has changed. How old is the roof today? What condition is the HVAC system in? Are there plumbing leaks, foundation conditions, dry rot, unpermitted improvements, an aging electrical panel, or a home equity line that everyone has forgotten was still open? An appraisal gives you an opinion of value. A home inspection is a separate assessment of physical condition. They answer different questions, and the lender's appraisal is not a substitute for your own due diligence. You may still decide to keep a house that needs work. That is not automatically a bad decision, but you should be choosing the repairs along with the house, not discovering them after the buyout amount is final. Test 3, can I afford to own it, not merely make the payments? Can you afford to own this house comfortably? Many people start and stop with the mortgage payment, but ownership includes property taxes, homeowners insurance, homeowner association HOA fees when applicable, utilities, landscaping, maintenance, and the repair reserved for the next roof, water heater, appliance, or plumbing emergency. Then your house budget has to live beside the rest of your life. So transportation, groceries, healthcare, child-related costs, personal expenses, debt payments, emergency savings, retirement, and future wealth building. If the house is absorbing every available dollar, you may technically be staying in a house while financially standing still. In this example, the homeowner brings home $4,500 per month, and the complete housing expenses is estimated at $3,250. That leaves $1,250 before groceries, gas, medical expenses, child-related costs, debt payments, savings, or retirement contributions. So can this person make the house payment? Possibly. But can this person comfortably afford the life attached to that payment? That requires a much more honest conversation. There is a difference between being lender approved, being able to make the payment, and being able to afford your whole life. Your personal budget should use your realistic take-home income and all of your expenses. A mortgage professional will evaluate qualifications using lender rules, including income, debts, credit, equity, and the possible loan. Those are 2 different tests, and you need to pass both. Test 4, is there a realistic financing and liability plan? Is there a realistic plan for the mortgage and any buyout? Depending on your loan and the settlement terms, the path may involve refinancing, an assumption of the loan, a release of liability, and an offset using other assets, or another professionally structured solution. Refinancing is common, but it is not the only possible path for every loan. Your mortgage servicer and a qualified lender need to tell you what is actually available in your situation. Do not be confused by title, and do not confuse title with debt. Signing a deed can change ownership, but it does not automatically remove a borrower from the mortgage. Likewise, a divorce judgment may assign a payment responsibility between the spouses, but it does not by itself rewrite the creditor's contract. Before agreeing that you will keep the house, ask yourself, what loan will remain? What will the projected payment be? Who will remain legally responsible? What must happen for the other spouse to be released? What is the deadline? And what happens if the intended financing is denied? Those questions belong in the conversation before the agreement is final. Test SPY. Does this house fit the life I am building next? If you had never lived here before, would you choose this location? Commute, size, maintenance burden, school district, homeowner association, and monthly costs for your new household. Imagine yourself 3 to 5 years from now. Will the children still be living at home? Do you want to travel, return to school, start a business, build retirement savings, or purchase an investment property? Does this house support those goals? Or will the costs and upkeep make every new goal harder? A house can be perfect for the family structure you used to have and still be wrong for the life that you are creating. That does not make the house bad, and it does not make you a failure. It simply means the fit has changed. Test 6. Am I buying the house or trying to preserve a feeling? Are you choosing the house itself, or are you trying to preserve a feeling? Sometimes the house represents continuity for the children. Sometimes it represents proof that the divorce did not take everything. Sometimes keeping it feels like winning, while selling feels like losing. Your feelings are real and deserve a place in the decision, but they should not be forced to carry the mortgage. Ask yourself, if I had never lived here, would I make an offer on this house today? If my best friend showed me the exact numbers, what would I tell her? And if selling gave me a smaller payment, more savings, and greater peace, would I still call that losing? Keeping the house is not automatically a victory. Selling it is not automatically a failure. The victory is leaving the divorce financially stable and able to move forward. Let me show you why the rebuy test can change the conversation. In the emotional mortgage, I use a hypothetical couple named Zoe and Dylan. Zoe wanted to keep the house. A comparative market analysis estimated the value of the home at $790,000, and the remaining mortgage was approximately $550,000. So on the surface, that looked like $240,000 in equity. If the illustration assumes an equity split, Dylan's apparent half would be $120,000. However, Zoe treated the house as though she were buying it all over again. The property review uncovered a $25,000 foundation repair estimate, approximately $3,500 in dry rot damage, a roof near the end of its life with an estimated $28,000 replacement cost, and a $3,300 mechanics lien. Together, those items totaled $59,800. Using those documented items as part of the decision planning conversation, the adjusted figure was $180,200, and an illustrated half was $90,100. That is $29,900 less than the original $120,000 assumption. To be clear, this is an educational example, not a statement that every repair or future selling expense is automatically deducted in California divorces. The actual legal treatment depends on the facts, the documentation, negotiations, and the professional advice. But imagine agreeing to pay $120,000 before anyone had even asked whether the house needed nearly $60,000 in work. That is exactly why this information must come before the irreversible decision by the judge. Zoe could still choose to keep the house. The difference is that she would be doing it with her eyes open. She would know what she was buying, what it could cost, and what needed to be discussed with her attorney and other professionals before the buyout was finalized. If you're in this right now, here's what I want you to do before you fight for the house, give it up, sign a deed, or agree to a buyout number. I want you to take out one sheet of paper and pretend your house has just come on the market. Now, you are not the current owner. You are the buyer. Step one, I want you to write, knowing what I know today, would I buy this house with my post-divorce finances? Step number two, I want you to list these 6 categories. Go ahead and list right underneath one another: value, condition, monthly cost, financing, future fit, and then finally, heart versus head. Place a check mark beside what you know, a question mark beside what you still need documentation for, and an X beside anything that currently does not work. Step 3 is to build your missing information list. Your question marks that you had in step 2 become your action list. You may need a current mortgage statement, information about the HELOC, so the home equity line of credit, that's what HELOC stands for, a preliminary title report, a market analysis or appraisal, an inspection, repair estimates, an insurance history report, a projected loan payment, or a conversation with your attorney or tax professional. Step 4, do not force a yes. If the honest answer today is, I don't know, that is not failure. It means you have identified the information you need before making the decision. A question mark is safer than a confident answer built on missing facts. If this exercise showed you that you have more questions than answers, start with the free 10-page sample of the ebook, The Emotional Mortgage. You can scan the QR code on your screen or use the link in the description below. The complete book walks you through affordability, equity, mortgages, legal and tax questions to raise with your professionals, emotional attachments, selling, and alternative strategies. It also includes the worksheets and checklists designed to help you organize the information. If you only need help with one part of the process, my Can I Afford to Keep the House worksheet and the Rough Home Equity Estimator are also available separately in my Stand store. In the next video, we are going deeper into the affordability question. Can you actually afford to keep the house after the divorce once you count the expenses people usually forget? Subscribe to this channel and turn on your notifications so you don't miss it. You do not have to hate your house in order to sell it, and you do not have to prove that you can suffer financially in order to keep it. You simply need enough reliable information to choose the option that protects your equity, your credit, and the life that you are building next. Do not ask only, can I keep the house? Ask, would I buy it again? Then let the facts answer with you. I am Latasha. Please like and subscribe, and don't miss the notifications for the next video where I said we're going to dive deeper into the affordability issue. I'll see you in the next video.